room. I'm not showing Linda because Linda's not quite in a state to be sharing yet. Beautiful room for our first room. And a lovely summer's morning. And the birds are tweeting. And the mountains are mountaining. And it's beautiful. And it's a very nice hotel. We at about 3 o'clock in the morning we actually arrived at the hotel, which is a bit of a shock to the system as we've got to actually leave for our first trip at 8 o'clock. Linda got caught in the door. I missed it on the video. Oh dear. Harmless. Very nice. And all these mountains all around. Very pleasant. There's the infamous cat. Apparently Linda was stroking the cat and that's when she had her injury.
Now, of course, we have many neighboring countries. Our biggest neighbor here in Turkey, the longest frontier that we have, let's say, is with Greece, because the whole Asian Sea is a frontier with Greece, and to the north also we have from the land the frontier of Greece, and close to our frontier with Turkey is the city of Thessaloniki. Perhaps you've heard of that. It's the city to the north of Greece. And if you continue...
A little bit misty, but nice and sunny. And warm.
St. Nicholas. So that will be our first visit together. So meanwhile, on our way there, let me try to give you an idea of the historical timeline here in Anatolia, because it's actually quite complicated. It starts about 4,000, 5,000 years ago, and the first civilization to live in this territory is called the Hittite. Perhaps you've heard of the Hittite. I'm sure if you've been to Egypt, your tour guide must have talked about the Hittite, because they were the enemy number one of the Egyptians. Basically, when you look at the Mediterranean, East Mediterranean basin, to the north you had the Hittite Empire, and to the south you had the Egyptian Empire. Now, when you look at Turkey, there's actually... So when you receive the letter, you would have to break the outer shell of that tablet to be able to read the letter. And perhaps this is the reason why still today we use envelopes, we send letters in our modern postal system. So that's the Mediterranean, ladies and gentlemen. So the Hittite Empire existed roughly about the 13th century before Christ, and then there is two different empires that move into Anatolia, and one of them is the Urartu Empire, which is to the east of Turkey, and another one is the Phrygian Empire to the west of Turkey. The Urartu had their capital here, right next to the lake of Van. It was called Tushpa. And the Phrygians had their liberty, the hat of the King Midas, the Phrygian hat, which was later used during the French Revolution. The hat, to give you an idea, is the same hat that Napoleon Bonaparte used to wear in France. Yes. So after the Phrygian and the Urartu, you have the ancient Greek civilization that begins in this area, roughly about the 10th century before Christ. And this is actually a quite important time in history because, well, in the ancient Greek period, people start to build very big cities. And when they start to build cities, each city side and onions.
We call it a lagoon as well, don't we?
And
Yeah.
get the camera away from me.
Yeah. Church of St Nicholas.
Oh yes, it's possible, yeah. There are ATMs where you retrieve some.
All we got three new.
Well, I tried to live here in the city of Myra. We believe about the 4th century of our time. Now, the 4th century of our time is quite important because it is the acceptance of the Roman Empire of the Christian religion. Constantine the Great, when he comes to power, as you know, breaks down the Roman Empire into two different sections. But in those years, they didn't call themselves Byzantine, they called themselves Romans. It was East Roma for them, and the capital was the city of Constantinople. And Constantine the Great, to give a certain order in the Christian religion, well, put together, you can see it on the map if you check it out. And well, what they did is, well, they brought together important Christian philosophers, and they came together, and as you might imagine, as a representative of the region of Myra, Saint Nicholas went to this council. Now, in this council, of course, there were different interpretations of the Bible that were put into question, and there was a lot of discussion about which one was the real one. So here you can see some of these frescoes that I talked to you about. Just as you go down the stairs, just on your right-hand side, you can see in red color, it's a representation of the Virgin Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that one on the side wall there. And over on this side, there is an angel that is represented. I don't know if you can notice. You have what we call the last prayer, or the scene of the Deesis, where you will see Jesus in the middle, and one side the Virgin Mary, and on the other side you have Saint John the Baptist that is represented. Now, this section, funeral area, or Paraklesium, the Byzantine churches, the Orthodox area of the church, they make a separate room for it. So we'll walk through there now. So as you enter, the first fresco that you see, forgive, is Adam. So you can see him holding the hand of Adam on this fresco here. And then afterwards you have the crucifixion of Jesus here. And you can see the face of the Virgin Mary in the few pieces that are left. And then finally you have the death of the Virgin Mary. And you can see that here in this fresco there is a baby that is represented, that is being held by two angels. The baby in the fresco, the Byzantine iconography, represents the soul. So basically the angels have come to take the soul of the Virgin Mary and bring her up to the heavens, where the door of heaven is represented there in a circle on the top.
They knew already where the heavens were.
Cross that is represented on the top of the door. In Europe, generally, you know this cross as a Maltese cross, because the distance between all the points are the same. We will see this very commonly here in Anatolia. And here on this side, you can see the cross of St. Nicholas with the anchor at the bottom. That is represented here on this marble piece. And of course, as years have passed by, the level of the ground has gone up. So this courtyard, which used to be the courtyard of the church, has gone down a little bit. It's like underground. But basically, it was the courtyard of the church. And you would enter the church through these doors. So 1, 2, 3. 3 doors to enter the main prayer area. Of course, it is in relationship. There is a symbolism of the Trinity. So let's walk in, and as you walk in, you can see very nice frescoes again. Now, from here until, if you look up, the original building from the 4th, 5th century. It's a Byzantine architecture. You can see the bricks that are used behind the frescoes that have fallen down. But the top of it, the roof itself, and those few walls on the sides, that is the renovation that was done by the Tsar Nikolai II towards the end of the 19th century. So the original roof is not like this. In Byzantine architecture, the roof will always be a dome. And then later the Russians renovated it in their own architectural way, let's say. Now, I don't know if you know this, but when you have arches in the middle, that is the most important thing. And notice here in the main prayer area, there's 3 arches, 3 doors here, 3 doors there, 3 doors there. So the Trinity is repeated all the way up to the 2nd floor. Now this being the main prayer area, front of it. So people believe that was the coffin of St. Nicholas. There is no proof, technically, but it is a question of belief. Now, if you're in our coach, so you have 3 power units now, take pictures, but please don't use flash on the frescoes. So in 20 minutes, we'll be back in our coach.
There's our Saint Nick himself. There's his church.
Towards Kekova. Kekova, that's where the sunken city of Simena is. And we'll take a small boat to do a cruise on the Mediterranean. It should take us from here to there in about half an hour. So,
Yeah. That's the ancient harbour of Myra. A lovely rock formation.
No.
Incredible.
Oh, edit it, Tom. Edit it out. You don't listen, don't.
Oh yeah.
you can see this beautiful Kekova. Truly a corner of paradise on the Mediterranean. Basically, just in front of you, in the back, all the way in the back, that's an island. And actually that island used to be connected to the mainland. And there was a city of Simena between the mainland and that island that you see in the back. And then after the earthquake, roughly the 6th century of our time, this island, the connection between the mainland and the island sunk under the water.
Here we have the castle tombs. Rather nice. And here you can see where the town was buried underneath the sea. Still bits showing above the surface. So there was a whole town and it was buried underneath the sea. Goats being driven along the field.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching.
Oh yeah.
Ancient city of Santos. In the center of the city is the view that you have. As you can see, it's quite large, and this isn't just by coincidence. I mean, people in the past, they would always use this kind of spots where you have a very large view of the region. The reason for this is very simple. These are protected. Because the larger view you have, the wider angle of a panorama you have, it is the biggest, specifically, an Assyrian province. We believe that this region, the Lycians, came here during the time of the Hittites, and they were, we're not sure exactly, either Assyrians or Sumerians or a little bit of both. And the way colonies worked at that time is they would come here, they would settle down, and they would, Iliad, because actually the original name of Troy is Ilios. As you know, many of the ancient Greece, almost every were to pass through to Dalaman, because on the other side of the tunnel is Dalaman. That's the international airport. And the way that this works is that it is a private initiative, so it's about 4.2. So £1, 4.2 Turkish lira. Counts the ancient.
Now we're going on a little boat trip.
I take your picture of you. If you don't like, you don't have to fight. There is no.
Coming up on the outside now like the rails
There's all the tubes up in the rock. Find a number up. flotilla all heading towards the beach now. The freshwater side, and this is where it meets the saltwater. The tide's just coming in. And you can see where the tide would be coming up, probably up to here. So this is looking out towards the Mediterranean, so all the sea on that side, and on the other side is where we've come in the little boats, and this is all our facilities, so somewhere to have coffee and whatever, and our toilets.
Yeah.